thank you so much, Wayne, for inviting me to be part of this project. It's such an honor. Like you mentioned, I do have an Instagram account where, I'm just talking about my own experiences, talking about my experiences in higher ed, as a student, as a grad student, as a professional now, and slowly incorporating more of like opening up and being vulnerable about mental health. In my journey with that, like that's a journey that I'm still exploring, and I'm still trying to learn about myself, and I hope people who follow me can join me along the way. And I really appreciate that your wife and you being able to share some of my content, and it's very exciting, like I said. So let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Benjamín. My pronouns are he, his, him. I was born and raised in California, the Central Coast, city called Salinas, California, the salad bowl of I don't know the world or the country, but we're known as the salad bowl. The reason for that is because we have a lot of fields around Salinas and a lot of companies that produce, salads, the salads you can buy in Safeway and Nob Hill, etc. Right? So with that, a lot of immigration comes to Salinas. And the reason I'm sharing that is because my parents came to the Salinas from Mexico in the mid 80s. They came here, and then essentially they had me, right? So I was born in Salinas, and being born here, going to school here, there's a title that we get, which is first generation. First generation going to college, first generation graduating from college, first generation essentially in my career, first of everything. And being the first in my family, it brings me a lot of pride, it brings me a lot of honor, but also it's a lot of responsibility. I mentioned this on my social media posts. It is a lot of responsibility because the pressure is real. Like I said, growing up, my parents, I would say, as Latinos, our parents give us like educación, this sense of like this education, our values. It's hard to translate it, but educación. So my parents gave me, and I'm gonna talk about two of those lessons they gave me. They gave me the hard work ethic, and also education as the priority. And I feel like it was tough, right? It was tough seeing them go to work every day, and me trying to assimilate to this country. I feel like I got both of those down. I got my degrees, I have my career. I should be good, right? Well, that's not as easy as it sounds, because what they didn't teach me that they didn't know themselves, which they still don't, I would say, are in that process just yet, is for me to how to take care of my mental health. And that's why we're here now. That's why I'm here, to be sharing a little bit about that. How being a first generation in this country kind of like affected, didn't prepare me for me to be like taking care of my own mental health. Is it their fault? Is it my parents' fault? I would say not. It's not their fault. Like I mentioned to you, my parents were from Mexico, born and raised in a small, I don't know how you say it in English, but in Spanish it's called a ejido, like a little ranch. 200 to 300 people live in those places, and the idea there is just to survive. My parents' mentality was to survive, to provide food on the plate, and to provide a roof on our heads, and that's what they did, right? Here in Salinas, that's all they did. They would work 6 out of the 7 days of the week. My mom worked graveyard shift. My dad worked during the day. So mom was available after I came back from school, and my dad was available after my mom left. My mom would work, like I said, 12-hour shifts, graveyard shifts, and then she had to come back home and be a mother. She would have to come back home and cook, clean. Latina women have much more expectations to do in the household than the men, right? So she would basically had a second job at home. And as a kid, I see all that as a Latino, like I see all that, but I can't process it, right? It's just like, oh, it's just my parents working hard and being there for us. And yeah, like I said, that was for my brothers and I. So me growing up, going to school and going to college, the expectation of going to school, like how could I not do that? That's kind of like ignoring everything that my parents have gone through for me to go to college, right? So I'm there in college, sacrificing, pushing through, even just like them, even if I didn't feel good, even if I was sick, just like them, I had no excuses to go to class the next day. I have no excuses today, sometimes I feel, to go to work every day. you know, just like them. They didn't have no excuse. I would see my parents like with the flu, sick, drained, tired, mentally exhausted. But the next day they would wake up and they would go to work. And as an adult today, I see it. You know, I see it today. I still see it because they're still in the same mindset. And I would like to change that. You know, I would like to say like I can't continue that path, not because I don't have the capacity, but because my parents' hard work ethic took a toll on their mental health. You know, so many times, so many years, my parents struggling, fighting, arguing, and I will say it had a lot to do with their mental health. You know, like I said, like mentally drained. And I would want definitely to stop that because my parents sent me to college. They sent us to college, right? As Latinos, they sent us to college to get a better life, right? To get a career and live a comfortable life. But I can't do that if I ignore and not take care of myself. How can I live a comfortable life if my mental health is like not here? You know, it's like on the floor in el suelo. And as Latinos, you know, mental health is a taboo. The word stigma is written all over it. Like, what is that? What the heck? Like, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. Just pray or go this. Like, just wake up. Like, échale ganas. The term échale ganas. Like, don't give up. Like, continue pushing forward. No. And at times, like echándole ganas or pushing through would work. I think our previous speaker was talking about that. Like, taking naps, pushing through, seeing the vision, seeing the goal. But when do you step back and take care of you? You know, I work in higher education. I work with college students. How can I support students if I am not well? You know, how can I be there for others if I'm not there for myself? So I would say, and I would encourage all of y'all who are here, who are listening, like we must break that. You know, we must break that for ourselves, for our family, and for our culture. And like I said, my parents didn't have the luxury of telling their supervisor, "Hey, you know what? Like I'm kind of tired. I need like a day off. I need a break." Those companies that my parents worked in, the salad companies, they are just, you know, they're there to produce. You're there to produce. You're not there to produce. Don't come back. We'll hire someone else. There's someone else will take your spot. You know, and I have the privilege and the luxury to have a job when I could take a day off. You know, get PTO. Like I said, like work is there every day. Work's never gonna end. So we must take care of ourselves. And how I think yesterday I was doing a live, an Instagram live with Mental Health America about, and someone asked the question, how can you take care of your mental health and also try to have your family join you in this mental health journey? And honestly, like which I didn't say in the beginning of this, I'm not I'm not in the field of mental health. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a guy who's trying to, like I said, trying to continue learning about mental health and hopefully inspire others to join me along the way. You know, for us to continue exploring this aspect of life, you know. And what I said to that person yesterday was like, I'll give you an example. Growing up, once I started realizing and noticing that my grandparents are sick because of diabetes, because of high blood pressure, and like all that kind of stuff that Latinos have to struggle with, I'm like, damn, like, could this be because how we eat, how we don't take care of ourselves physically? Like, we eat all these amazing foods, but that takes a toll on our body later on in the years. So I started making changes in my life. You know, started like eating a little healthier, going to the gym, running, and my family at the beginning were like, "Oh, what? Estás loco? What's this? Is crazy. How are you not going to be eating tortillas? Like, who is this guy?" So then, but slowly after the teasing and the making the jokes, and I kept doing it, they started to internalize it. Then once I go home, my mom's like, "Oh, you know, I'm eating a small portion today," or my dad says, "I'm not going to eat tortillas today because you know," and I'm like, "Oh, who are like what's going on, right?" But I think just being the model of the change we want to see is great. You know, so it starts with us. We need to break those cycles, taking baby steps, like setting boundaries at work, balance, right? Like if you need to take a day off, take a day off. Like I said, the next day you go back to work, work's still going to be there. Work's never going to end. And yeah, like taking those days off. Remember that this mental health journey is for all nuestras vidas, not for our lifetime. Just the same way we a lot of us focus on our physical health of like trying to go to the gym, trying to like feel good and look good. It's the same thing for mental health. Y'all like like I always say, me going to community college and transferring to a university and getting my bachelor's after 7 years of stress, feeling depressed, feeling homesick, not telling anyone about what's going on. At the end of those 7 years, I got two things. I got my bachelor's degree, legit. In May, I got my bachelor's degree. Everyone's there celebrating and everything. And in June, guess what happened? In June, I was diagnosed with something called alopecia, which is like when your hair starts falling off. And I didn't understand what was going on. And they told me it's because of my stress and not eating, not taking care of myself. My immune system went all over the place and started attacking my hair follicles. So since then, I'm in this process, in this journey of taking care of myself, of eating well, not stressing, if this is due in 3 days, then tomorrow's the next day. I will worry about it tomorrow. So I think for all of y'all, like, just remember for us to find balance. Yes, our family, our culture, our work, and everything, you are in the center of it. So you are what's important. You know what I mean? So you will need to take care of yourself first before you go out there and try to make a difference or whatever it is that you do. So I appreciate the space. I know I have my timer here. I'm like, it goes 10 minutes. So I really appreciate this space and the opportunity for me to share a little bit about me and my journey. And yeah, like if you want to continue following my journey with all that and what I do, follow me at Instagram at Pérez Advisors, my last name, and I'll put it on the comments. So, but yeah, thank you so much for this space, and I really appreciate it.